Yes. That sound means in the paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese for the first ever YouTube only special. That's right. YouTube only for this episode. How about them goddamn apples? And we're full in the news as we teased in our full in the news episode on whatever the hell day that was. Sunday? I don't even know.
Sunday.
The medication's been flowing out in these parts this
like
week.
The spice.
Yes, it is. Damn right, like the spice. But yes, so as we teased, we're going to talk a little McLaren. Stu and Alex Palau for $21 million. That's a lot of schkanol. Saying lost profits from what Alex Palau pulled out of his deal with McLaren. Greenstein, I know you are pumped to talk about this.
Hell yeah! Thank you everyone for joining us for a YouTube exclusive. Thanks for everyone for jumping on our last videos and podcasts. Definitely have had over the last 6 weeks here huge influx in listenership and people reaching out, people joining, people subscribing. Thank you all of those people who have donated and have thrown a couple bucks our way to keep this going. So we really, really appreciate that. So with that, we're going to throw out a little bonus episode for all of those who jump on the YouTube. And we would love to hear everyone, of course, listening in this Sunday as we head to Texas, Dakota. Second U.S. race of the year of 3. Believe it or not. Mm-hmm. It's still crazy to say. We got 3 races in the U.S. Mm-hmm. Before we head to Vegas, we got 5 races to go, 6 races to go now. 6, I do believe. So
6-pack, son.
A 6-pack of races to go. So join us for all those post races. That would be awesome. So if you haven't checked out the podcast and it's the first time you're checking us out here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Love to hear you. But let's get into it, sir. We have McLaren, and we have some just craziness going on. I know it's been reported all over the place. News has been coming out hourly at this point. As we are in court at the moment, millions of dollars of lawsuits going on. I don't know how this is going to end. It's probably going to end in a settlement of some sort. What that settlement's going to be, I don't think we're going to end up with a judgment. I'm surprised, honestly, that we ended up this far without a settlement, because it seems as the information coming out that there's one side that really is in the wrong here. Cheese, what have you heard, and what are you hearing currently as we're sitting here Thursday evening East Coast time in the U.S.?
It's kind of absolutely just madness. McLaren's suing them for money that they lost from sponsorships and money they invested into when Palau was doing some practice sessions and things for him. But Palau was saying that he was promised a seat, that Zach Brown is now saying that he didn't promise him a seat. So we got that back and forth. We got a burn bucket at McLaren, which I know you're digging that. You're digging that.
We'll get into the facts of the matter and what's been uncovered in a moment. Go ahead and finish up there.
But it's absolutely crazy. The thing that Palau said, saying that Zach Brown didn't really want Piastri to come to his seat. And there's been some stuff that's come out about that. Is Piastri now going to possibly leave McLaren? Because he's a little tweaked about it. About that coming out. So, yes, it's kind of fascinating, to be honest. It's a little bit madness, but it's absolutely fascinating. And this apparently ain't going to be over for a while here. It's going to probably go through the rest of October, probably in the next month too, unless, like you said, a settlement or something comes down, with the judgment not coming to probably 26. So this is, if there's no settlement, this is going to be around for a while.
Yeah, so you gave the general overview. Let's go through the facts of what's going on first. Before we head into a little bit of the history of how this ended up happening, let's go through some of the facts as we stand now. All right, fact number 1, there were many, many WhatsApp messages that were deleted. Fact being that McLaren sets their WhatsApp messaging system, and I don't know how common this is, and if there's a rational reason they haven't given one, I'm sure there is, that within 7 days that message automatically disappears. There is a setting, you could have it disappear within 24 hours or whatever it is. So it seems mysterious and interesting that we have screenshots, and I believe Motorsport just today put out a bunch of those screenshots that were taken by either Alex Palou or his team when this was going on. So that is a fact of the case. So right there, fact number 2, that Alex Palou was paid to do a job at McLaren. The interesting thing, and where the vagueness comes in, is what was promised. Okay? What was actually promised in writing. Words don't mean anything. Put it in writing and get a signature on it. That's what a fact is, all right? Whether you like it or not. Ron Dennis of McLaren said it himself. Formula One is a piranha club.
Yeah.
You're going to get torn up. So you need to know better going in. And his agency needs to know, this is not Indy. This is not IndyCar he was going into. And I don't know the ins and outs of IndyCar like I do Formula One. But, the brotherhood, I feel in IndyCar is a little tighter. It's less of a global sport. It's more of a U.S., North America-based sport. And it seems a little more tighter knit within the IndyCar community versus, as aforementioned, Piranha Club that we have in Formula One, where it's dog eat dog, and one minute you're on the top, and the next minute you're out. So those are some basic facts. I would love to actually get a photo or some kind of fact proof of this bucket that it's got to exist, because here's some of the facts of this case.
You need a wall.
But
Need your
until
wall
I actually
point to.
I got to get the wall. You know what I'm talking about, with the strings that connect, those stupid memes. But the facts, right? Let's go through the facts. And more facts will bear out every single day that the case is at trial and evidence is revealed. Okay, so I'm sure we'll get to that. So now let's go back to the history of how we got here. Okay, so we got to go back to 2022, correct? And Palau is in, born in Spain, moves to the United States, becomes an IndyCar driver, but obviously you grow up a racer in Spain, you're going to grow up with dreams of racing in Formula One. And, a Fernando Alonso fan, himself growing up, obviously, any race car driver from Spain who's in their 20s and 30s right now is absolutely going to be a Fernando Alonso fan.
Yeah.
So
facts.
And so he gets the offer to come potentially to McLaren. Okay, just starting in 2023, potentially being the reserve driver with a clear pathway, to his understanding, a clear pathway to the second seat at McLaren. Right? At the time, Lando Norris had it locked up. He was there for, I think it was his 4th season at that point, and he had that number 1 seat at McLaren locked up. Oscar Piastri was in the wings. And who was the insurance policy, right? Was Alex Palou the insurance policy, or was Oscar Piastri? And I think they were both each other's insurance policy, if you follow what I'm saying. Because what was going on at the same time was you had a Logan Sargent situation, right, if you remember him, who was supposed to be the guy. He was supposed to be the young guy coming up. And when's the last time we mentioned his name on this program? It's been a while. So that's for damn sure. Don't spit your water out, but don't be choking over there. But to that point, right, they had to insure. And I don't blame McLaren for paying out whatever money they did pay. But what was not said, Alex Palou and his team have to come out with what was within writing. Now, okay, so let's go back to McLaren. At the time in 2023, who was in the second seat? It was Danny Ricciardo. Yep. And Danny Ricciardo was clearly never going to be the number 1 at that point in McLaren. And he was slipping. As we know, he knows he was slipping. And it was obviously, we look back now, 2022 was really the end of his career. I believe he won
Monza, didn't
he
he?
won Monza in 23, but I think that was his last race he ever won, I believe, right? He podiumed Singapore, but in that season, regardless, McLaren finished, believe it or not, 2023. They finished fifth behind Alpine was fourth, I believe. So they finished behind Alpine. So you weren't looking at a team that was going into 2024 with aspirations. Maybe aspirations, but not of by any means in contention for the 2024 Constructors Championship when you're midway through 2023, when a lot of these negotiations were hot and heavy, right? So you got to look at McLaren's position. We're looking at McLaren's position as a two-time back-to-back Constructors Championship with this news coming out. And you have to look at it at 2023 mid-pack, fifth-place team competing with Alpine, for fourth. That's the team they were at the time. They were not a two-time winner. They were not an Oscar Piastri as potential. May not. We'll see about that. How the last six-pack go here. But to win it all. So we have facts of the case. We have the history of the case. And then we got a whole bunch of rumors. So I'll turn it back over to you as I stole the spotlight here for a moment. And what are the rumors going on? I know I talked about my burn bucket, which may or may not exist. That might be a fact at this point, but
I got deleting messages, so why the hell wouldn't they have a burn bucket? Let's delete that. Let's cover our tracks so we can't get sued. I mean, you're saying that. You definitely got some burn bucket, like some CIA operation, throwing it down the chute and it gets burned every night.
oh,
Like
they're
they
down
do
there with the
Langley.
Epstein files.
Like they
dude.
definitely got some fucking wild shit going on over there for sure. I don't. It's just absolutely fascinating. Like, just what this person said versus this person said, but I think there could be some fallout here too from just the Piastri situation. If Zach Brown didn't really want him there, and it was Andrea Seidel who really brought him in, got him from Alpine as well, because they were battling with Alpine and they were also stealing the driver from Alpine. Because if you remember, Oscar Piastri was under contract with Alpine at the time too, before he came to McLaren. And that whole fiasco that went on with that mess. So,
Well, hold on. Was Oscar Piastri actually ever under contract with Alpine? 'Cause I know
no, but
Alpine made that announcement.
he was Alpine's. He was Alpine's like reserve driver at the time, and they were probably they were just. They were. I don't remember if you remember that Alpine said he's going to drive for him. Then Oscar was
100%.
like,
We did it right on the show back in 2022 when they made the announcement mid-season that Oscar Piastri was going to be driving for Alpine in 2023, and Oscar Piastri claps back. He's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. They made an official PR announcement. Alpine did.
So,
and Piastri's like, this news to me. So can you imagine waking up in the morning and seeing like you got traded or you signed your name onto a contract that you didn't sign? That's pretty wild stuff, man. Anyway,
but is there going to be any fallout from is Oscar to get a little bent out of shape a little bit from possibly thinking, well, maybe he didn't want me there, so maybe I should get the heck out of Dodge, because there's already been a little bit of friction with the team right now as well.
We've been talking about it for the last month or so here, for sure.
Yeah, so is there going to be fallout from this into that regard as well? Because Oscar is definitely negotiating a new contract here coming up. So that's a spicy meatball too to think about with the rumors. There's a lot of rumors a little bit in the back scene that there's some friction in the team at McLaren right now, especially with Oscar and Lando, and probably Oscar and Zach Brown and the hierarchy on the team that Oscar thinks he should be getting more, as we've discussed over the past number of episodes here. So this could really, really snowball for McLaren in a way that they do not want.
It could get out of control. Why does this feel so Red Bull 2023 to me right now? It's like you're on top of the world, and every time you hit that top, we just talked about this, Cheese, just a few days ago. You make it to the top, and everyone roots for you, and the second you make it to the top of the mountain, The same people
Hate
that
that
clapped
guy.
when you were walking
Hate
up
that guy.
are ready
Hate
to
that
kick
guy.
you right back down. So, welcome to the Piranha Club, boys and girls. If you want to be part of a brotherhood, F1 is not the place to go. It is about getting paid, and Zach Brown is a shrewd businessman. Ron Dennis was a shrewd businessman, and that's how they do things. And you better show that piece of paper. If you're Alex Palau and his legal team, they better have a piece of paper signed by both parties that clearly states this is what is going to happen. Not a text message, a contract. And so forget about the burn bucket or whatever it is. Who cares? Both parties should have a signed contract that's signed, sealed, and delivered. And if you don't do that for multi-million-dollar deals, I don't know what you're doing. I write multi-million-dollar contracts, I don't pay them, or they don't pay me, I pay them, but, I write them. I don't just do it via text. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to even use that as evidence. Both parties should have a signed deal. Everyone's lawyer should have copies. You have digital copies, hard copies, locked in a drawer, locked someplace that clearly states that in 2024, you're going to be the number 2 driver for this team. Not a hypothetical. Not a text. And that's where I got to end it right there. Until you show me something. They got nothing, they got nothing. And if I'm a judge in this case and you got nothing in writing that clearly states that you're going to do A, B, and C, I don't want to hear it. Because McLaren has every right in the world, just like any business, to have any kind of insurance policy they have. And to screw somebody, unfortunately, it sucks, but they have every right to do that. To screw someone over. It's not like Alex Palou's living in a tent on the side of the street in, L.A. So,
No.
Guy's got 4 Indy titles in the last 5 years, okay? So, let's be real in some regard. But this is his dream. It's his dream to race in F1. It's always been his dream, and
he's got it all.
It's interesting. It's hard to be sympathetic when, multimillionaires are suing multimillionaires like that. It's not much sympathy to go around. But if there is any, hopefully it's all worked out. Hopefully it's not worked out. Hopefully it's more chaos and drama, because we need a little.
We'll take juicy stories.
We need a little more juice like this. Anyway, sir, join us this coming Sunday post-race. The race kicks off, I believe, 3 o'clock Eastern time. Here, 4 o'clock Eastern time, 3, 4 o'clock, something like that. So join us post-race Sunday evening. It'll be a late one on Sunday, but we'll bring you Sunday night and bring you all the post-race action. And thank you all for joining us on the YouTube. If you watch this far, you should definitely hit that subscribe button. Definitely hit that like button. Leave a comment. We appreciate everyone's joining us as always. Cheese, say what you got to say, brother.
See you Sunday. Coda, baby. Thanks for listening. Hit that like, subscribe button. As always, stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.